So what brings you to the bottom of the ocean?
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the blueprints for something, well, a little different. It's a hypothetical new kind of platform that goes way beyond your typical vacation rental. Okay, so you know how a platform like Airbnb works, right? It's all about location, amenities, price. Pretty straightforward. But what we're talking about here, this is a whole different ballgame. It's not just about booking a space. It's about actually co-creating an immersive experience, one that's built on a story, on roles you play, and, this is the key part, on legally binding contracts. So how in the world would something like this even work? Well, we're going to break down the blueprint into 5 core layers, starting with the big picture and digging all the way down to the engine that makes it all tick. All right, so first things first, what are we even talking about here? This is way beyond just finding a place to sleep. Imagine a platform specifically designed to let people create and participate in these highly customized, story-driven role-playing experiences, and to do it safely between consenting adults. So the whole goal here is to let imagination run totally wild. But, and this is a huge but, it has to happen within boundaries that are super clear and, most importantly, legally enforceable. And that right there is the central puzzle, isn't it? How do you build a system that allows for that kind of radical freedom while making sure everyone is safe and everything is above board? The answer, it turns out, starts with a completely new legal foundation. Okay, now this is where it starts to get really interesting. You know how most websites have that one giant terms of service document you scroll past and click agree on? Yeah, that would not fly here. This platform would need a dynamic, living legal system built right into its DNA. And at the very heart of that system is something called modular contract generation. The best way to think about it is like using legal Legos. For every single booking, the system would automatically pull together the right legal clauses, the right blocks to build a totally unique, custom contract. It would look at the story, the planned activities, even the local laws of where it's happening, and assemble the perfect agreement just for that experience. And you wouldn't just sign one thing and be done with it. Nope. You'd move through these different layers of agreement. You'd start with the general platform rules, the basics. Then it gets more specific, waivers for this particular experience. Then rules for behavior. And finally, explicit, detailed acknowledgments of consent. It's all designed to make sure there's absolutely no confusion about what everyone is signing up for. And we're not talking about some flimsy agreement here. Each and every one of these contracts has to be absolutely rock solid. We're talking time-stamped, version-controlled so it can't be changed later, and explicitly accepted by every single person involved. Oh, and it has to be legally valid in whatever city, state, or country the whole thing is taking place. That alone is just a massive technical and legal hurdle to overcome. Okay, so we've got this incredible legal framework, but how does the system actually manage consent on a practical level? How do you take this abstract idea and turn it into a real feature you can click on? Well, that's where the engineering comes in. So before you could even think about confirming a booking, everyone involved would have to go through a boundary management system. This is where you lay it all out on the table. You define your hard limits, the absolute non-negotiable no's, then your soft limits, things that are okay but need to be handled with extra care, and even conditional permissions, things that are only allowed if specific conditions are met. And remember, these aren't just suggestions. They get coded directly into that binding legal contract we just talked about. And to back all of this up, the platform would have what's called a persistent consent ledger. Basically, it's a super secure, unchangeable, and auditable log of every single time consent was given, or maybe changed, or even taken back. This creates an undeniable digital paper trail which protects everybody and makes sure there's total clarity from start to finish. And that really gets to the core mission of a platform like this. It's not about creating chaos. It's about providing the heavy-duty legal and technical scaffolding needed to make these really complex mutual agreements actually possible. It's about, as the source material puts it, transforming radical personal autonomy into something structured, mutual, documented, and enforceable. Okay, so you've got these incredibly complex, deeply personal interactions happening. The big question is, how do you even begin to keep people safe? Well, the idea here is to completely flip the traditional safety model on its head. Think about how most platforms work. They're reactive. Something bad happens, and then you file a report, and maybe a moderator looks at it days later. This system is designed from the ground up to be proactive. Safety isn't an afterthought, it's baked into the very foundation. It's not about what happens after a problem, it's about preventing the problem from ever happening in the first place by using those strong contracts and clear boundaries that everyone agreed to beforehand. And that proactive approach completely changes how you think about a user's reputation. Your rating wouldn't be based on something subjective like, oh, was the host nice or was the place clean? Instead, your reputation would be a cold, hard, objective score based on data. Did you respect the boundaries you agreed to? Did you stick to the narrative? Did you follow the contract you signed? That's what matters here. And that reputation score would then plug directly into a trust tier system. This is brilliant, really. You would literally have to earn access to a more complex or more unrestricted experiences by proving over time that you're trustworthy and that you follow the rules. It creates this powerful built-in incentive for everyone to be on their best behavior because your reputation is verifiable and it's your key to the kingdom. All right, for our last section, let's pop the hood and look at the engine that would have to run this whole thing. Because making all of this work safely, legally, and at a global scale, well, that requires some seriously sophisticated back-end technology. So, there are 3 absolute pillars to this engine. First, you need a jurisdiction-aware engine. This is non-negotiable. The rules in Texas are not the rules in Tokyo, and the system has to know the difference automatically. Second, you need a super-structured dispute resolution workflow, because let's be real, things can still go wrong, and you need a clear path to fix them. And finally, a powerful data governance framework. I mean, we're talking about incredibly sensitive personal data here. Protecting it has to be the top priority. But the engine would also be an active participant, almost like a referee. It would have a system to verify that everyone's expectations are aligned. No mismatches. It would have an automated consequences engine to enforce penalties when rules are broken. It would even have a risk scoring system to flag potentially unsafe combinations of activities. So the big takeaway here is that the backend isn't just sitting there. It is actively enforcing the rules of the world that the users themselves created. And when you put all of that together, what do you get? You get something that is so much more than just another booking site. You get what the source material perfectly calls a legally fortified consent marketplace. The entire value proposition, the reason it would exist, is its ability to make these incredibly complex autonomous experiences not just possible, but safe, through a framework that is structured, documented, and 100% enforceable. So, what does this all mean? Is this a glimpse into the future of bespoke, personalized experiences? Or is it a legal and ethical labyrinth that's just too complex to ever navigate in the real world? It's a design that really pushes the boundaries of technology, law, and human interaction, and it leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to chew on.